Hello, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Welcome to the weekly collective reading. Good to see everybody. As always, we're going to take a look at the week ahead and navigate all the twists and turns and ups and downs. And so basically, we have a special topic this week, which is to pull in abundance in the highest forms. And I'll try my best today to help you navigate any opportunities that might be knocking. Again, I didn't have time to update that on the title, but I'll do that on the replay. All right, so we're going to start off with channeled messages as always. This is going to allow us to basically see what Spirit wanted to say first and foremost. And as I was meditating, I saw a beautiful white wolf or gray wolf. And to me, this is thematically showing that some of us are trying to find our way. Because to me, a wolf really is happy in a pack mentality. And for some of us, there may be this moment of recalibration, trying to figure out where do I belong, right? And there are a lot of different things that you can do in this moment to kind of recalibrate that and figure that out. It might be getting more involved in extracurricular activities and sports. And we talked a little bit about this in the daily card pull, things that can inject a sense of fun, community, and connection into your life. And over this next 7-day period, know that by doing that, you're actually going to be surrounding yourself, hopefully, with new energy, new ideas, and this hopefully can help you maybe even get a little bit out of the mental fog. The other thing that came through, even as we're speaking right now, is kind of this idea of walking on broken glass. And I feel like it's really important this week to be able to freely speak your mind. And if there are certain friends, family members, or people in your life where you feel that apprehension, like, here we go again, or I have to always kind of like count my, or watch my words, this may be a moment to kind of pull back from that. Also nicely aligned with the Ten of Swords message that I pulled today. Sometimes it's not worth kind of like going down that path if you know that there's a tendency to get elevated in conversation, escalated more than anything, and kind of like pull back a little bit and think, where else can I put my time and energy? So a little bit of discernment in choosing the people, places, and things that you're putting your valuable time, which I think is one of the most valuable resources out there. So those are the two messages. As we go through the Celtic Cross and all the other sort of spreads that I do today, I'll take a look and see where that wolf energy might be coming through. The wolf is also, of course, connected to the moon card in tarot. So sometimes we're looking at things that are coming to our attention, like, there could be themes of honesty and revelation as well. So let's go into the 7-day forecast without any further delay. I'm going to, I've got a deck of cards here. I just need to put on one more of my lights. So while I'm doing that, I'd like you to close your eyes and just focus on the energy of the sun. Imagine that it's rising and that you're just wrapped in the radiance and brilliance of that. And take 2 or 3 deep breaths. In each of those breaths, I want you to imagine that you're pulling in the light, the protection, and the radiance of the sun, and you're letting go of anything that doesn't serve you. On your next exhale, you can open your eyes. Let's begin. We'll welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. And let's take a look at this week. By the way that I look at abundance when we get to the special topic anyway is going to be all-inclusive. It's love, it's opportunity, it's everything. So for those of you that were wanting one of the other topics to come through, who knows, maybe next week I'll do a reader's choice and I'll select what I want. I was surprised you didn't do the aces today. I thought that would be cool. So anyway, what needs to come through always does come through. Speaking of which, there's a random card that was hidden in here. 2 random cards. Very interesting. Okay, we'll keep an eye out for these 2. Like, how did those get in there? All right. Let's go ahead and look at the next 7 days. right, before we get started, I just had an adjacent deck that they fell on top before I shuffled. So let's look at these. There are no accidents. So we have Devil and Eight of Wands energy. So the Devil as we're looking at the week ahead, these are like general cards for the whole week. Really making sure that you're not making a commitment that you can't keep. And I mention that because this is a card that shows rapid activity, busyness, productivity. And sometimes when you're in the flow, you just think, okay, go, I can keep doing this. Really be mindful of overextension this week. Just a quick message because they were there. Now we can get into the regular spread. That is an important message nonetheless. Okay, so we'll start off with the energy of today. Looking at this Sunday, we have the Queen of Pentacles coming through. So this is a chance for you to really focus on what matters most in your life. Queen of Pentacles, of course, is connected to finance, money, budget, schedules. So all of these things, planning is really important today. And it still nicely matches the daily card, which is saying, how can I make life a little bit easier on myself? What can I do to alleviate pressure, pain, or discomfort? And so the planning energy of this definitely connects with that. She's a bit of a homebody, meaning that there may be a desire today to kind of nest or stay at home. And if you are spending time with people, it's like the core family, the people that you love and trust the most. I love that she's focusing on that one coin front and center. And so if you can put your energy into one thing that really, really matters, then you are more likely to see a little bit of growth, activity, and movement on that than not. Let's see what else I want to focus on here. I believe on the Queen of Pentacles, there's normally a little rabbit. It's kind of hard to see. We can see something that looks rabbit-like in the corner. One thing that this kind of reminds me is that it's not about making a ton of progress today. It's about getting clear, setting those seeds of intention, and things have a way of naturally kind of jumping and moving and growing on their own when the foundation is very firm. So the work that you put in today into self-care, into planning, etc., will pay off in the long run. Looking now at the beginning of the week, we have the Six of Cups coming forth. This is a chance for you, now it is reversed, but let's look at it upright. It would be a chance to make connections in your life, deep and existing ones, possibly prioritize family, children, people that matter most. In the reversed position, it can represent some pressure from some of these people that you love and care about. And the important thing here is to kind of figure out, there might be a need to kind of like reallocate your time. So maybe your children need you more, maybe your family needs you more, maybe your inner child is screaming a little bit and saying, take care of me. Whatever that sort of recalibration is, it is worth it. Of course, have healthy boundaries if there are people in your life that tend to overstep. But more often than not, this is a call to take care of yourself, have some fun, and make sure you're spending time with people that you love in your life. Because why else are we working so hard, right? Why else are we constantly putting energy out there, if not to enjoy a little bit of time and energy with the people that we care about the most? There could just be a lot of social engagements, and those two bonus cards that found their way into the spread today definitely connect with that. So if you said you were going to be somewhere and it is someone that you love a lot, make sure you keep your promise, or simply say, I'm too busy. Honesty is so important, and especially if it is a child or if it is someone who is like a brother or sister to you, you got to keep your word, and that's basically what this is coming through and nudging you, okay? Let's take a look at Tuesday. We have Five of Swords in reverse, and the Five of Swords is a tricky card at best. It represents sometimes people who aren't ready to have the conversation. They aren't ready to take accountability, to listen. And in this situation, much like I was talking about in the daily card pull for the Ten of Swords, there can be a call simply to kind of like go in a new direction. I have, let me see, I think I still have it handy. So I had pulled this for the daily card read, and even though it's a different card in the suit of swords, it has a similar message, which is cut your losses and move in a different direction. And so I feel like some of that is coming forth here for the Five of Swords. Sometimes it isn't worth having that conversation until the other party is ready. Let them come to you. We see here what looks like a mummy, and sometimes we kind of go into situations thinking that we can rinse and repeat, and it's almost like we're sleepwalking, and I kind of get that energy with this. And I remember feeling that way in a couple of situations in life, particularly a job once, where it's like, well, why argue, because it's not even worth it, and it kind of like it has a way to kind of pull your motivation down. So also be very mindful of how much time and energy you want to spend in situations like that. So discernment is really important on Tuesday. Elevate conversations, move in a new direction. You know, Six of Swords is the next in this suit, and that really is about moving on. And sometimes we need that wake-up call that this isn't for me, okay? Let's move to the midweek. We have Nine of Wands coming through. It's a card of perseverance and survival. We like it. So in this moment in time, anything that you have set sort of like a goal or an intention to do, the Nine of Wands is really asking you to come forth and acknowledge and complete that. It has a little bit of the energy of the Seven of Wands here, the way she's holding that. So it's also encouraging you to push back on anything that is distracting you from completing the task at hand. If you want to finish something, you can finish it. But there's only so much of you to go around, and it's very important because right on the very next day here, as we're looking at Thursday, we have Ten of Swords in reverse. There is an avoidable argument, avoidable burnout, etc., and that's why it's important to also push back. And this is slightly independent, kind of like the Nine of Pentacles, so it might be better for you to kind of find a place or an area for you to focus, concentrate, meditate, be on your own a little bit, hermit a little bit, and that's going to help you get to the finish line. Things that could be a little bit agitated, you might have difficulty, like there could be a migraine, there could be obsessive or sort of like just not so constructive thoughts that are ricocheting in your brain a little bit, and that's why I think meditation can help. Getting outside, getting some fresh air can also help. Whatever you want to finish, you can finish. Just take care of yourself. And that'll help you avoid what we see here on Thursday. We do have a reverse Ten of Swords. It's actually better if it's reversed. In the upright position, it can represent what I talked about in the daily. Burnout, fatigue, chronic pain, sometimes just this feeling of being over, done with something. That is the blessing of the Ten of Swords. It's one of those few cards in tarot where when you hit it, you know, I don't need or want this anymore. It's time. It's an epiphany. It's a light bulb. And there's always something bright in the card. We have the moon here. Normally it's the sun breaking through, so a new day. So either putting something to rest or you're allowing something new to come through, and let the past be in the past. So that other Ten of Swords that I had featured where she just walks in a new direction, sometimes we can feel it's almost like this new sense of clarity. I really don't want or need this, and that allows me to walk towards something new. And I remember, I've mentioned this before, but it's worth re-mentioning here. When I quit my job over a decade ago, because it was in January, you know, the human resources team mentioned you're walking away from your career. I did have the wherewithal to say, or am I walking towards the new one, exactly what I want to do? I believe I'm walking towards my path and my calling. And they were like, oh, you've given it thought. I said, a lot of thought. So that's something to think about in cards where you see movement. Sometimes you're simply being called to do something bigger, better, and brighter. And I really do feel like that's part of this. Please take care of your body. Please take care of your emotional and mental well-being as well, because that sometimes gets forgotten in the Ten of Swords. So talking to a friend, talking to a counselor, getting some sort of support, a massage, going to your doctor, sleeping, any number of self-care routines that you might think of. This is also a day to do it. And that means it really is kind of coming up twice in a week, because we did get that as just one part of my daily card pull. So there's a little bit of a cycle here of self-care that is being brought to our attention, okay? Let's take a look at the end of the week. We have a very good card coming forth, Knight of Wands. So passion, fire, imagination, but a tendency to overthink, and sometimes even I'm getting a mental image of like spinning your wheels. Use your power, use your passion, use your energy where it matters most. Don't just sort of like dragon's breath, just blow out all of the fire all at once. It takes a long time to kind of build up the energy. Let's just make sure that you're staying focused. And again, not overthinking, not overanalyzing, because whenever we have one of the court cards in the suit of wands in the reverse state, it can be stubborn, fixated, or again, kind of going through that energy of, what about this? What about that? The math meme, and overthinking things to the point of exhaustion or fatigue. I feel like your first instinct is your best, going back to the wolf that we had seen, or that I had seen in my my vision. All right, let's take a look at next weekend. On Saturday, emotions run a little bit high and a little bit heavy here. We have Nine of Cups in reverse. It just feels like there's an onslaught or a lot of energy that you're processing and dealing with on that day. So there's a reminder here not to let things go to one extreme or another. So sometimes with the Nine of Cups, it can feel like the absolute best day or the absolute worst day. And sometimes that makes us go into an energy of euphoria or despair. And we need to kind of be in the middle to see things with just a little bit more clarity, okay? The good news here is there could be something worth celebrating. Nine of Cups is definitely something worth celebrating. And so take time to enjoy your successes, take time to celebrate the things that matter most in your life. You've worked hard to get to this moment. Now we're looking here at the energy of Sunday. We have the Strength card coming forth. The Strength card is in reverse. Again, themes of self-care and sometimes even this feeling of being exhausted. So it's important in this moment not to overdo things. And if you need support, or if someone's willing to offer you some support, take it. This is something that you have earned. You are worth it, my friends, okay? There could also be a person in your life that tends to want to call the shots or push their energy forth. And in this moment in time, having some boundaries is really important again. And sometimes this comes through as a parent or a boss or a teacher. And when this happens, again, these are intentions that are well set, but sometimes it's too much. And we need people to trust us, trust in our ability to be able to do something. And if there is someone that's constantly micromanaging you, this is a moment where you have to just say, give me a shot, give me a chance. I can, trust in my ability to make this happen. All right. What is great about the Strength card is if there's any difficult conversation that you need to have, if there's anything in front of you that has been challenging, you have the wherewithal to make it happen. But there is a big sort of, what's the best way to do it? It's a trade-off. And you have to decide how often do I want to keep having this conversation? So you can convince someone to do something or see it from your perspective, but it can sometimes be all like an exhausting sort of conversation. So you just really want to think, if I always have to try to have this big output of energy to get someone to do something that they should be doing, is it really worth it in the long run? Okay, let's take a look at highlights and challenges, and then we'll move on to the elemental forecast. So here's what I'm seeing for many of you this week. I think today is a highlight, and I think it's really in planning and recalibrating. That's where your energy is really going to be most appreciated. So today is a highlight. I think that the middle of the week, Wednesday, you have a chance to see something to the finish line. And I think next Sunday is a highlight too. You can overcome a challenge or obstacle, but it takes a little bit more time and energy than you might anticipate, okay? The challenges this week, Tuesday and Thursday, because there could be a waste of time or energy with someone who isn't ready to listen. You could burn yourself out potentially, and possibly Saturday. Those are the heavier days, but it's almost like every other day is good, and it's like Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday where you just have to kind of rest, breathe, and recalibrate, okay? All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the elements here. We're going to focus on just basically some high-level energy for all of the signs. This is the only piece that is sign specific. Everything else is going to be basically for everyone that's present. So take a moment, please, close your eyes, and let's take a look at fire, earth, air, and water. All right, so we will begin with fire signs first. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, Knight of Cups energy coming forth. A reminder today and this week ahead to have some fun. This is a very creative, sensitive, and tuned-in card. So anything with respect to creative endeavors, anything with respect to love, relationships, etc., is absolutely what you should be focusing on. There could be new love or opportunity knocking as well. And so by and large, this looks like a pretty good week. It's also saying let your heart be your compass. In this moment in time, it's really, really important to basically listen to your heart and honor your heart, okay? So not a lot to unpack on this other than as long as you're listening to that heart, that creative part of yourself, and allowing yourself to feel loved and nurtured, things are going in a great direction. Whether you are single or working or just focusing on life in general, creativity is coming through in a really exciting and powerful way. So it looks like it's a good week ahead for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Moving on to the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Coming out of your independence and allowing yourself to work with others, to receive some help and assistance, all part of this. Nine of Pentacles also represents, in this moment in time, the ability to finish something, to see it to the finish line, which is exciting. There is no rush, though. The little snail that's normally on this card reminds you slow, steady, and measured approaches are important. And that's why I think sometimes even just allowing someone to come through and offering a little bit more support could be very, very advantageous. What I like about this is the ability to see increased resources or productivity. Again, don't be afraid to kind of lift up the rocks and look for other areas where these opportunities might be coming through. They could surprise you. I feel like it's a productive week. There's no rush. That's the thing that just keeps coming through on this. And you can do more than you maybe even imagine or give yourself credit for. So Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, a very good week ahead for you. Let's move on to the air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. This is a week of recalibration. Five of Cups can also be, for some of you, it's like you're mourning something before it's already happened. And don't get too far ahead of yourself. Trust in your initial instinct to either stay or go in a situation, and know that it is okay sometimes, especially when we make a decision like retiring, breaking up, moving, anything of that nature, to start to overanalyze or project ourselves out there and think about that. Use this time to really see both the blessings and the challenges. There's always two cups that are upright in this card. So in this moment, there is love, there is support, there is a silver lining. Yes, there may have been something that was challenging, uncomfortable, or kind of helping you reset. So that's okay. This is a chance to kind of take a couple steps back and look at the fork in the road, see how far you've come, and to recalibrate. And it might be helpful this week, again, to go to the Six of Cups, friendship, camaraderie, and other people in your life to kind of get that support that you need. So be kind to yourselves emotionally, but remember that there is a rainbow and there is a silver lining in the two cups here that we see: friendship, opportunity, and something better on the horizon. And finally, let's take a look at the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. We have the Nine of Swords in reverse. This is a week where you don't want to burn yourself out. It's so important to get ample sleep, to work on stress management, and simply to push back and say no. You remember I was talking about the strength card, where someone may be trying to push too much on your plate or trying to control you. You just kind of push your hand back and say, thanks, but no thanks. This is what I stand for. This is what I need. And don't let that kind of get in the way, okay? There could also be some issues with too little, too much sleep, or the quality of the sleep not being what you need. Again, some of it is stress management, some of it might be environmental, and if there's anything going on health-wise, obviously work with your doctor. Sleep is one of the most important restorative things that we can do. One thing that I love about this card is it's typically better than it feels or looks. We see that most of those swords are mental, and so we have a tendency sometimes, it's like she's going, woe is me. So it could help if you have someone in your life that is very grounded, very practical, very honest, to give you a sort of like pulse check, reality check, and help you see what really matters, because it feels like there might be something that has been built up to be bigger than it needs to be. Okay? Today's special topic, again, is looking for love and abundance in the highest forms. And as I said at the beginning here, I'm looking at this more holistically. I read the comments. I saw the frustration from some of you. You're like, not all of us are working. Not all of us want to be looking at money. I said in the highest forms. That could be new relationships. That could be, an opportunity for a volunteer job or an activity or something that you're trying to accomplish in your life. Opportunities are just that. An abundance is just that. It comes in multiple facets and forms. So we'll read this in the sort of broadest of terms, okay? So don't worry about it. And like I said, maybe in a week or so, maybe next week or the week after, I'll do a reader's choice and I'll pick some things that I think we should focus on that don't get selected. Everything has a time and a place, but the majority wanted this, so let's honor that and see what comes forth. All right, let me select a deck of cards here. And then we'll begin. Okay, as I'm shuffling the cards, let go of any sort of preconceived notions that you might be holding on to. Like I said, we're going to be looking at this in the broadest possible terms, allowing whatever needs to come forth to come forth. We'll welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. Ooh, that's a cool Eight of Swords card. And I mentioned I'll look at the chat to see if there was anything that I need to look at the very end. So that was while I was walking the dog. Let's now just focus on the cards and the messages that are coming forth. Ooh, this is another one. I've had a couple cards that this is going to be our catalyst that have just found their way through the spread today. I had decks that were sitting next to each other. I've been traveling, so there are a couple of cards that shouldn't be where they are, but they are there nonetheless. All right. So we have a volunteer here for the catalyst. I'm still going to pull a second one here so we can get a blended approach. Yeah, this is a really cool deck that was gifted to me just because I follow the illustrator, or not the illustrator, but the creator of the deck on Instagram. I'll show it to you. I get no kickback on this. It was just someone who thought I would enjoy it. And I'm like, you know what? I think I would. Thank you. So it's actually for kids, believe it or not, but I quite like it. Jason Gruhl is the person that I follow on Instagram, and Christina is the one that illustrated it. Really, really cool deck. So I'll make sure to link it later. Again, other than the affiliate link, there's nothing, I don't get anything out of it except I just like the deck. So thanks to Jason for sending it. That was kind. All right, Catalyst. We had a card that I didn't expect to come through. So we have the spirit world coming forth, omnipresence, a reminder that spirit works in surprising ways, often when it's least convenient or least obvious. And then I pulled an extra card to help clarify it. We have Lady Portia, Divine Order. Do what you feel is right. An important lesson is unfolding. And this was reversed. So sometimes it's not obvious to us why something is happening until weeks, months, or years later. Trust in the process is basically what I'm getting with the combination of these two cards. And the other thing here is make sure I love the transformational energy with the dragonfly and butterfly at the top. Allow yourself to lean into the necessary changes that are happening in your life. Sometimes we resist those changes or change that might be happening, but like when we allow it to happen and just kind of like move into it, amazing growth can come out of that. So Lean into change, allow yourself to grow, know that you aren't stuck unless you want yourself to be stuck, okay? Let's take a look at the overarching theme here. So, death, nicely connected to all of that. The star, allowing you to step into something new. So change for the better. And there's some recalibrating and some healing that needs to be done because Eight of Swords and Devil energy coming forth. So let's take it card by card. I like where we're headed, but we definitely have some things to look at this week, so we will do that. Again, with the general theme of abundance in the highest forms. Okay, Four of Cups. Sometimes when it rains, it pours, but there's usually a rainbow at the other end. So we can see here in that energy of feeling like, oh my gosh, here we go again. Why me? And sometimes we don't know how many, it's kind of like a plane that has connecting flights or a bus that has a bunch of stops before it gets to the final, bus stop. We don't know what those little connections are, and you may be sort of mid-flight or mid-commute. Don't let some of the intermittent weather and distractions and delays take you away from, again, the rainbow that might be in the horizon. I'm acknowledging that some of you are feeling like when it rains, it pours, Nicholas. I see it. But there is something that the universe has as a reward on the horizon. So keep working hard towards your goals, your dreams, your aspirations. Don't let this moment, this distraction, this speed bump get in the way of completing the task, the goal, the dream, etc. that's in front of you. Often with the Four of Cups, we are so distracted by one thing that we miss other things. So if I take the whole travel metaphor out of it, it can just be comparing your life to someone else who has accomplished more, who has gotten further down their path, but we don't know what's in front of them. We don't know how much work they've done this life and or previous incarnations. And so let's just trust in our own process and know that you're exactly where you need to be in this moment. That's basically what this card is saying. And things could be even better if you look around, if you reach out for help, if you open yourself up to look beyond. Fixating on what isn't or what someone else has doesn't help you kind of accomplish what's possible. So possibilities and opportunities are what are knocking here, and that's really what we want to pay attention to. So crossing this card, we have a really cool looking Eight of Swords. Usually this is a prison of thought. We see someone kind of surrounded by swords, blindfolded. This Eight of Swords is showing you that you create your own destiny, you reap what you sow, and in this moment, you could kind of cut through some of those fears, anxieties, and blocks. Because every day, the spider's going to drink the dew off of that web, clean up whatever needs to be there, start from scratch if necessary. There's a perseverance to it, and I like that. Usually the spider would be on like 10 of Pentacles or Wheel of Fortune, because it also is a highly magnetic and really good manifesting energy, because long before a fly lands in this web, the spider builds it. It knows where to put the web in the trees. It's hard to see. It's really good at seeing something before it happens and having the patience. So don't give up. I think these two cards work together. The Four of Cups has very little patience and is very practical. I either see it or I don't, and it's either here or it's not. The spider is spiritual. It's saying, I don't see it, but I believe it. And if I believe it, I can create it, and I'll see it when it's supposed to be here. So going into visualization and patience can help you accomplish what you want. In that particular situation, the spider's very good, okay? Don't get caught up in other people's webs, and it could be, right by it we have the devil or the trickster in this particular deck. We have the moon over here. So blocking potentially the star energy is your own sort of, it has to be here or it's not going to happen. Someone else trying to get you in their own web of fear or anxiety, or just someone not truly coming through and showing you things. So we have to kind of step back from those distractions, because they're just that. They're just distractions, okay? Looking in the deep past, what's the karma of the situation? Okay, so it came through in the weekly read here, Five of Swords. Basically, sometimes we even hold back from having a conversation. This is an unusual Five of Swords because the person is afraid of the rejection, and it's an internal Five of Swords. So the Five of Swords can sit on your shoulder like the Devil card and say, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not whatever enough to make this happen. Meanwhile, we have some people on the sideline thinking, why are you not moving? What's wrong? So the dialogue in your brain isn't connected to what's going on around you. It's more of like a Nine of Swords energy, fear-based. So this is the inner saboteur blocking, quite literally in this card. So this one, they just chose to go the saboteur route, and we're going to go with it. So it's your own I can't, I won't, it will never kind of thinking that is actually manifesting that it won't happen. Because the people are waiting. They're ready to receive, but you're blocked by your thoughts. So don't let your thoughts block you. And if you're thinking, Nicholas, I'm not blocking myself, good. It's in the karmic past. It could eke itself into the present. So remember what we're talking about here if it does present itself. Otherwise, then let the past be in the past. The inner saboteur isn't welcome to the table right now. It served its purpose. It's no longer necessary, okay? We have the Devil reversed in the recent past. Some of you may have been able to see through something that was too good to be true. And so sometimes it is like smoke and mirrors, right? People can promise the moon and the stars, but can't deliver. So that's one of the reasons I said try not to overextend yourself when we got the Devil that popped up as a part of the weekly forecast as a bonus. So the Devil's now in the special topic. Make sure that you are realistic, that other people are realistic, that if there's something that doesn't feel right or vibe with you, that you speak up at the beginning. Contractual negotiations, this is so important with that. At the very onset of something, say, hey, I think this is too limiting, or this is something that might present a conflict of interest. I just wanted to be transparent. The Devil hates transparency. The Devil hates honesty. And the Devil hates integrity. Therefore, lead with integrity, transparency, and honesty. It will be your best friend at the end of the day. You won't regret telling the truth. You've got to do it from the beginning. If you want something, say it. If you don't, also say that. And really, that's everything with this. It is in the recent past, so it feels like this lesson also wants to exit. And so allow it to exit. There are better things to focus on right now, okay? What we see in the crowning position is just one of those, actually. So the Six of Cups. This is the kind of friendship, this is the kind of relationship that you want. This is the type of connection that you're looking for. Best friend, camaraderie. It's almost like I have a couple people in my life that feel more like a sibling, like I don't have any living siblings. So one is a cousin, one is a friend on the East Coast. And I'm so glad to have a couple of these people in my life because they fill that role of sibling that doesn't exist. And so it's chosen family, extended family, that ends up being more significant than actual family. So some of you may just be leaning into those types of brother-sister relationships that aren't actually your brother and sister, because that can be this. It's like siblings. You may be reconnecting with people from the past. An old friend. There might be someone that you were even estranged with, and what we see here is maybe an ability to do some healing on that relationship, okay? This can be also you getting your flowers. I don't often read it that way, but I'll pull it up. It just came through. I mean, I've looked at Six of Cups for a long time, but have you ever noticed that there are two children presenting flowers to each other? I was looking at all the cups flying on that, and for some reason I'm like, on the original one, isn't there flowers? So let's talk about that. I mean, getting your flowers means that you're finally in a moment where people are noticing you for who you are, maybe giving you the promotion, because we're looking at abundance in the highest forms. Maybe it's someone who's like, why am I not spending more time with you? So it could be friendship or love. And yeah, I don't know why I've never read it this way, but it's coming through loud and clear right now. You're getting your flowers. Beautiful imagery, right? Maybe it's because it's more of a modern phrase and hasn't come into the vernacular maybe until the past couple of years. So all of these things here, this can be I don't see it, so it's not happening. This can be a friend or family member that comes through and says, you're not good enough. It could actually be that. It could be your own internal, I'm not good enough coming through. Meanwhile, in the crowning position, you're getting your flowers. So don't hold yourself back from achieving that sort of moment in the sun that you deserve, or in the star here that we see here, the star energy. So you could be finally accomplishing a goal, finally meeting someone that you want to, finally learning to love and integrate. And in doing so, yes, star energy comes through. Beautiful unicorn. Celebrate the unique you that you are. Don't try to conform so much. It's not about rebellion. It's about just integrity and honesty and not having to hide or mute your light. And for some of you, that's all this was, is a self-confidence journey, because this is feeling like, again, maybe an imposter syndrome. This is you saying it hasn't happened, so it'll never happen. I'm not good enough. And then starting to just sort of like feel like maybe I should settle for less. These two cards are completely antithetical to that. They're saying, no, you are lovable, you are deserving, here are your flowers. And a lot of this happens when you're able to just be yourself and not have to hide, because the trickster can also be someone in your life saying, I'll only love you if. And the star is, I love myself enough to not accept that. I love myself enough to lose that connection so that I can preserve who I am. Because if I can't walk the path that is authentic to me, whatever that means for you, it could be a chosen career. It could be loving who you want to be or who you want to love, and someone else doesn't understand that. It could be moving or living where you want to be. Whatever it is that is somehow breaking from the expected mold or the norm, it's exactly what you should be doing in this moment. And if someone loves you enough, they'll love you when you are your true self, okay? So in order to get the star, you have to be the star, meaning that you have to just be yourself. And then people see that and they're inspired by that and they're attracted to that, and then more opportunities come forth because of the authenticity of self, right? This is a really good card for those of you that are in business. It can represent a breakout or breakthrough. This is really good if you're looking to find someone in your relationship sphere. This can be someone who's exactly in the right sort of energetic vibe that you're looking for. This is just success and abundance personified. It's one of the most powerful cards in the major arcana. And I love that there's a unicorn on this, because it is celebrating what makes you you. And again, that doesn't mean that you have to throw out friends or family. It means that you're just saying, love me for who I am. I love you unconditionally. You're holding space for that. Give them time and space to come and see you halfway at the very least, okay? All right, so now let's take a look at you. You're coming through as the Page of Swords. Action, communication, and movement is what I really see with this page. She's jumping in the air. She's excited. It could be some good news. Aces and pages can be developments, movement, positive announcements, or some good news. You could be giving that good news. You could be receiving that good news. It's also just saying take some action. If there's something that you don't want, that you don't like, that you're finished with, this is about affirmative and positive conversation, communication, and action, making things happen. Stay positive, stay affirmative, and keep the needle moving. Let's take a look at what's going on in the environment. We have a Knight of Wands. He is reversed. So this is saying, before I move forward, maybe I need to rethink this. There's nothing wrong with rethinking. You're allowed to change your mind. You don't need permission from me, but the cards are saying that. You're allowed to reconsider. And then once you've got the clarity, you can jump into action, because we see the desire to do that. But think first about where it is that you want to go. This is also someone around you, because the environment is people and opportunities. So there could be someone around you that is very stubborn, and it's sort of like, this is my way. It's my way or the highway. There could be someone around you that second guesses their decision-making process, and that can be a little exhausting, particularly if they're coming through needing validation, a lot of validation. I'm I'm getting someone that could be a little bit insecure or uncertain, and especially if you have to work for or work with them, or if you're in a relationship with them, the constant validation does become a little exhausting. And it's like, why can't you see what I see? And then it feels a little codependent when that happens. So there's no need to repeat like a broken record something. What you could do instead is to ask them why they are thinking that. What makes you think that? Kind of play more the role of the therapist. Say, that's nothing I see. Why do you think that that's true? Where's this coming from? Is this something that you've heard? Is this something that people are saying, or do you see it happening around you? Otherwise, I don't feel like we should keep talking about it, because it's just not, it's not here. This is something that, so help them see it, but they need to kind of see it from their own perspective. They need to figure out where the root is of this. And it may be out of there's only so much you can do. You're not their therapist. You're not their coach. But it doesn't hurt to say, where did you hear that? Because that's not my concept. That's not my reality here. Okay? That one question could help them go into their own headspace and say, you know what, you're right. We have the moon here in hopes, fears, and opportunities. Honesty is a common theme this month, because the devil usually lacks honesty. The moon card is trying to get away with something. It's not the same as the devil. It's tiptoeing around the truth, a white lie. Sometimes non-disclosure, like not saying something, can kind of be the same as being deceitful. So I think it's so much better this month if there's something that you think, well, maybe I shouldn't say it. If it's important, say it. If you think, oh, I can get away with this, no one's going to notice, they're probably going to notice. They probably already know. So lead with integrity, walk the higher path here. Normally in this card, we see a path leading between the dog and the wolf to the moon behind it. So it's basically taking the high road, not giving in to fear, anxiety, arguments, negativity, etc., walking that path to clarity. Also, you might find yourself in an interesting predicament somewhere between what you've been conditioned to do and what your instinct is telling you to do. Your instinct is really what you should be listening to in this moment in time, okay? The moon is also a powerful card of illumination. You have 2 illumination cards. The star, which is brilliance and light and bright, and this is more reflective. So someone could also be helping you see your own light. You could be starting to understand the power that you have. There's something introspective here when it comes to power and enlightenment, so pay attention to that. And the general name of the game, as we're looking at how to accomplish or step into abundance in the highest forms, it comes through change. You have to either move up, move on, move out, or move through something in order to fully step into the dragonfly energy that we see here in the bonus catalyst. Change is necessary. Change allows for growth to happen. It's not always easy, is it? It's not always what we want when we want, is it? But sometimes it's exactly what we need. So the change that's underway, the change that's about to reveal itself, is beneficial, is necessary, and will take you to the next level. As we take a look at this expanded forecast, let's see where some of those changes and growth opportunities might exist. We'll start off first with health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. And all right, we have this beauty card coming through, but I'm focusing on the fact that as whatever it is that's hatching here, it's not beautiful at the beginning, like an ugly duckling, right? So if we also think of different metamorphosis symbols, like for instance, maybe a frog, it goes through that weird tadpole phase, or the pupa phase when we're looking at like a moth. It's not so beautiful when it kind of goes into that metamorphosis, but that doesn't actually show you the final form. So it's okay for change to be messy, because we're kind of marrying this with this. And change is iterative, it's ongoing. And so sometimes we wish that everything could be perfect, photo finish. Okay, but it's not. And when you look at someone like a marathon runner, which is what's coming to mind, have you ever noticed how the body spasms sometimes in that final, few meters of the run? sometimes it looks really ugly, and there's a freeze frame, and you can see their face, and there's sweat, but they made it to the finish line. So it's not about the photogenic finish. It's just the photo finish. Who gets there? Did you get it done? Not even who gets there first. Did you finish the race? Did you accomplish what you wanted to? So let's focus less on this moment in time being beautiful and more it's transformative. It's okay for things to be a little bit messy, a little bit awkward, a little uncomfortable. It's okay not to look amazing during significant changes in your life. Sometimes we hold back the tears when something great or something sad or something happens. Don't hold back the transformative energy just because you think, I don't want to be seen that way. So there is something here about worrying about external optics or point of view, and that's not important. It's not as important as what's going on within. What's going on within is beautiful. It may look a little bit uncomfortable externally, but be that as it may. Eight of Swords is sometimes wanting to sweep something underneath the rug, and we have to pay attention to what's important. Four of Cups, focusing on the wrong things, and I think a lot of that is coming through with this. Again, this is the inner beauty, the inner growth, the inner change that is kind of like the most important piece, and this is focusing too much on what's in front of you. Letting go of something, this can be a habit, or something that you haven't been paying attention to in your health or well-being. So lack of exercise, eating the wrong things, overworking, substance abuse, whatever it is that you might be leaning on, this is a chance to say, I need to fix that. I need to focus on that. We're releasing that anchor that's holding you back. You don't have to do this alone. Six of Cups. The Moon card in reverse is kind of interesting. It can represent, for some of you, a change in moon cycles. So women may notice that menstrual cycle is off. This can often be due to stress, lack of sleep, anxiety. There also may be a pregnancy that's coming through. Pay attention to that. This can also be lack of hydration. In both men and women, it's the reproductive system. So sometimes we don't always pay attention to those sorts of things in our life. Please do. The Death card is really important. It's an outcome, so it's not like literal necessarily. This can be making the change that you need in order to take care of yourself. And we have a rest card here, putting something to rest and allowing yourself to feel at peace with the change that's in front of you. Again, it feels like sometimes things are just out of our hands. And so giving yourself a little bit of permission to just embrace the change in front of you without would've, could've, should've sort of energy entering into the psyche. Everything has its purpose. Everything has its place. Do what you feel you need to do. It's exactly what you need in this moment in time. Moving on to wealth, let's take a look at resources, life purpose, and career. We have Gaia coming through here. So this is interesting. Some of you may be looking at more sustainable jobs. We could read this at sort of like, face value, being mindful of the planet, also being grounded and deciding like this makes sense for me because I feel supported, because it's something that, I feel like I'm getting what I'm giving. So all of that can be coming through with this. I do wish, and I do think that we need to spend more time focusing on the environment, on the world. I talked a little bit about this with Matthias on my recent podcast. It's fascinating, and this kind of pertains to wealth because we're looking at something that would be something we'd spend time and energy on, or like an investment. But have you ever noticed the word real estate? Like we're trying to really emphasize that creating these artificial lines and borders and buying it and calling it ours makes it more real. But we all share the planet. It's frustrating as an intuitive to see what's going on in the world with respect to wars, with respect to disrespect, when we're looking at people that are just like, we're all more similar than we are different. And I wish that there was more of a sense of what we see in the Six of Cups. Friendship, camaraderie, love, and these borders that we create and the passports and all that. Like, we're all citizens of the planet at the end of the day. So could we just see past the artificial borders? It's more like a call to the planet at this moment. Like, we're all from the same primordial ooze and soup. We all share the same genes for the most part. So like, this is basically when we're looking at wealth and opportunities and money, like seeing the common good, and that we have more in common than we have that is separating us. I know I'm not alone in thinking that, but we don't see it, and not enough people are saying it. So let's try to like be more inclusive and see each other's common needs and goals rather than fighting so much. And again, it could be, I will like contextualize this. It could be for some of you when you're looking at work, there is bad morale. It could be for some of you when you're deciding where to move. You want to make sure that your children and your family feel safe, and it's an inclusive community that celebrates everybody. So this is both macro and micro. It's both planetary and really valid for this minor topic as I go and drill into all the 5 subcategories that I'm going to look at. But we have to find a way to connect, because this is the truth, and we're all here. We all signed up on a soul contract to be on this planet at the same time. So let's do our best to get along, please. Okay, let's go ahead and pull 5 subcategories and get super granular and specific. But I had to kind of talk on a high level there for a second. All right, we're going to take a look now at those of you that have a job, those of you that own your own company or are an entrepreneur. Then we'll take a look at those of you that may be seeking employment, followed by students, and then retirees. And I shuffled, but there's a lot of reversals, so I'm just going to read them as opportunities, each and every one. We'll talk about how to make them work. So for those of you that currently have a job, we have the 6 of Wands. The resistance to this could be for some of you that feeling of, why have I not been appreciated? Why have I not achieved a certain pinnacle of success? Success is subjective. So you get to define your own terms for success. And for some of you, there could be an office or an environment that just isn't good at validating it. So they don't give the necessary raises or the necessary sort of flowers. You're not getting your flowers when you think you should. Then for some of you, if you've had the promise of advancement, raises, etc., but it just sits there in the web, it gets stuck, change. It doesn't have to happen overnight. It could be months or years before you decide to step in a different direction, but explore the path. Like I said, traditional moon card here, which is right beneath it, has a path and it's leading to the death card, which is change. So be introspective, think about new things, or be the agent of change. You could say, I'm tired of us talking about this and this not happening. And you kind of hold them to account. Generally speaking, though, if you're not worried about that, then I just see that you might be underestimating yourself, because at the end of the day, this is success. This is doubting success. This is getting your flowers. This is shining. And this is you saying, I need to just be myself. I need to be able to authentically step into this path. And sometimes that's exactly what you need in order to make the change happen. Speak and act. Be a person of integrity here. And I feel like you can start to make the changes happen. So you could be the change, or you could find a place where the change is welcomed. You have a choice. You have a choice. The one thing that I don't love, like I said, there could be some morale issues when I tuned into the Earth card. There could also be a lack of honesty, integrity, or trust. Those things are harder to heal. There is a necessary change on the horizon. And for some of you, by the way, talking about like what you can't control, if there is a merger, if there is a layoff, if there's a retirement that's kind of put in front of you, like a forced retirement, know that this is also something that is helping you find something better down the road. It does not feel good in the moment, but it feels like this has been a long-term sort of thing. For everyone else, just stay honest, lead with your integrity, and pick and choose your battles, okay? 6 of Wands shows me you can successfully get through it. Moving to those of you that have your own business. This is a time to make up your mind. So in the upright position, 7 of Cups is pondering the opportunities, brainstorming, dreaming, thinking. In the reverse position, she's asking questions and getting clear and getting closer to the answer. For some of you, there could be a sense of ambiguity, or even, I don't want to necessarily say dishonesty, but like I would say when it comes to marketing, definitely make sure the advertising meets the actual end product. We don't want to sell something that is loftier than it actually is. So make sure that, the marketing meets the product. Some of you need to perhaps prune something out that isn't sort of delivering anymore. There's no return on investment. I do see a breakout moment here, but it comes from cutting some of these old things out and allowing yourself to take a calculated leap of faith, calculated risk. And I think some of it too could be inaction. So like breaking through stagnation and acting on some of these sort of ideas. This is a very interesting card to kind of end the sort of be as an outcome for those of you that are owning your own business. It's either change or things don't move, stagnate. So I think the way through this situation is to possibly like restructure or reimagine. This is a year of massive change and growth, but it requires a different approach to your business. And I'll leave it at that for now. Okay, moving onward to those of you looking for work. I like it. We have the Three of Pentacles. First time seeing this card. What I love about this is power in numbers, and we have all the little, these are probably the worker bees. So as you look for a new opportunity, be mindful of this. It may be something where there's a lot of focus on structure, community, and like the job description feels very fixed or focused. So if that works for you, great. If it doesn't, maybe think about it, because it does feel like you are kind of boxed in a little bit with this. This is typically a card connected to academia. So for some of you, you might be thinking of teaching, going back to school, mentorship. There could be also certain activities like seminars, people coming to you for coaching. There's a lot of teaching and back and forth and curriculum type energy here. Also, speaking of curriculum, if you want to go back to school or get some additional training, this is a great time to do that. Looking at your skills in general and making sure that they're elevated and put in a way that is very easy to see and understand when you're both in an interview but also on your resume, that's also important. I realize nowadays that, God, it's got to be so frustrating. You create a resume, then you have to upload it, then you have to like retype everything again, and then you have to talk about the resume. It becomes exhausting. But finding ways in the different formats, the digital format, the printed format, and then just also how you're going to talk in bullet points on the interview, because it isn't one size fits all anymore. And then, of course, whatever your portfolio, for those of you that might have a website or something like that, looks like, we need to make sure that in each of those formats that the skills jump out. That's kind of what I'm getting here. Can you find something? Yes. I think it's really important not to go back to an old job. Let's leave the devil in the past. And I think it's also really important to dig beneath the job description and look at fine print, especially when it comes time to negotiate. I think in the past, maybe negotiations were not as effective. This time you really need to fight for what it is that you want and need. Speak up. You have a chance of at least getting a portion of that. And go into the interview thinking, I am smart, I am worthy of this, and I'm ready to succeed. You have to have those sort of affirmative thoughts. Okay. The only thing here that might be challenging, again, is, well, I'll say this. Either there's something on the job description that ends up not being completely accurate, and I hope that this piece isn't true, but if you were thinking of sort of like stretching the truth, don't. It'll come out in the time that they do the background check. One thing that I can validate, I used to be a hiring manager. A lot of times they're not going to check every little piece, but like they're going to see if you got a degree from the school that you went to. They're going to do a credit check. They're probably going to call a few of your references. Bigger companies do this. And in certain states, you can get a copy of this. I did that when I applied to a few jobs here in California. And I was like, well, I'm glad I was truthful about everything. They checked it all out. So don't overstate anything. don't undersell yourself, but don't oversell yourself. And if you see a company that's doing that, call that to attention and then really ask yourself, well, if they're doing it here, where else are they doing it? So really pay attention to honesty on interviews. Okay, moving on to students, we have Nine of Cups coming through. Second time this card has made an appearance. Again, it can feel heavy. It can feel amazing. It's usually exaggerated when it's reversed. So take each step in each situation for what it is. Don't build it up. Don't make it bigger than it needs to be. Okay? Take some time to have some fun. And this is just confirmation that this could be really stressful or really exciting. And it's a little bit of stress is good. A little bit of excitement is good. But too much takes your focus away. So I feel like you could really benefit by getting involved in something that allows you to channel some of that, by talking to someone, by taking care of yourself, and possibly slowing down. So just heightened emotions, by and large. Some of you may have realized that, again, I was talking about this with regular jobs, but sometimes what's on the brochure isn't what the school ends up looking or feeling like, or what the major or the class feels like. So speak up. If it's early in your career, not your career, but in your coursework, you can change the major. You can transfer things. Even if you needed to do something that required maybe an extra year or something, finances, allowing, I think it's an important thing. Obviously, we can't always do that. Sometimes you just have to finish what you started. But I think if you speak up sooner than later, you might be surprised at what changes are available to you. Be honest with yourself and be honest with others, and that's going to help you align to a path that makes sense. Some of you want to change the world. We have change and we have the world, and I support that. Or you want to be an agitator, a changer, a disruptor. You're like, I don't want a 9-to-5. I don't want that. So if there's something that you want to build, this is also entrepreneurial energy. So the Death card is saying, in order for me to do this, I have to change the status quo. I have to create something that doesn't exist. Maybe take a couple business classes. That would be my advice. They help. Business and finance are going to help you if you're going to be entrepreneurial, even if you are a creative person, especially if you're a creative person. And a psychology class can be good too, so that you can be persuasive. Public speaking class. I mean, I actually think these are great things for all students. Know how to talk to people, know how people's emotions work, know how money works. And that's going to help you communicate and negotiate. And one thing that I also learned how to do is look at contracts. When I was working in a production role, I had to read legal contracts. I don't understand everything, but I know when something isn't right. And I recently had to, for a project yet to be announced in my own life, I had to look at a contract, and I was like, I had to work with someone, but I was able to sort out things that made sense, that didn't make sense. So just know what questions to ask, And so when you're looking as a student, it's going to be, when you're looking at your finances, especially when it's like student loans, that's the kind of contract we're talking about. And make sure that you understand the financial commitment that you're looking at. But anyway, I think that this is an exciting moment because of the star, but you have to lean into that authenticity. Okay? Retirees, we have a Boss card coming through for you. It's also really, really creative. Queen of Wands is often, we don't talk enough about that, and I think that is more appropriate for those that are retired. So what are you going to do to fuel your fire when it comes to creative activities and inspiration? What are you doing to keep your mind busy? Some of you may decide to volunteer. You may have opportunities to freelance, teach, or mentor. And like the cat on her shoulder, this is not your final, it's like got 9 lives. So you've got another chapter in front of you. It can be whatever you want it to be. I like that she's using her wand almost like, a fairy godmother and saying, I wish this, and I think this, and I speak this into existence. So this next chapter can be a very exciting one if you want it to be. Okay, let's look at love and relationships and see what's coming through. All right, first we'll look at the oracle card. So we have Haniel coming through, embraced by love, perfectly aligned to this. It says, let love reach where it has never reached before. And for some of you, because we have the devil, the moon, and the 8 of Swords, there could be this feeling of Am I worthy? Am I lovable? Will this happen? And we want to let go of the fear, the doubt, the critical thoughts, or the anxieties, because this card is saying, yes, again, this is your time to get your flowers. Let me take another drink and let's expand this. My voice is sticking with me most of this, but I still have a little bit of irritation in the throat. So much better than last week, where it became ASMR midway through. Okay, so we're going to look at those of you in a relationship. Woohoo, great card for those in a relationship. Then we're going to focus on those that are looking for love. Someone from the past, potentially, or second chances here. Then we're going to look at those that are happily single. Okay, let's start off with those that are currently in a relationship. So just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean you're married. This card can show a new level of commitment. So let's say you've been in a long-term relationship for a while, or you've just met someone and it's starting to get serious. This could be someone saying, I want to take it to the next level. That could simply be being exclusive. It could be an engagement. That's definitely Ace of Pentacles energy. And it can also be someone saying, I love you and I appreciate you, and they're just expressing their thoughts. You could also be called to do the same. But it is that energy of I'm invested in this, I'm invested in you. Shine bright like a diamond. It's also like we're looking at an earth element here. It can be literally like a diamond ring or an engagement ring. So I like this. I think this is really good. This is why we have the Six of Cups in the crowning position. So love yourself, love the person you're with, be honest, see if that is reciprocated. If it isn't, don't force it. But I feel like this is a good moment for many of you. In fact, looking at existing relationships, you've been through it. There could have been something completely out of your control that might have caused an argument, might have caused a little stress, but we don't see it in the future. I do see it in the past. There could have even been dishonesty. There could have been, a moment where temptation came in or whatever, but what I'm seeing now is a stronger commitment, and this is part of that sort of like discussion. Now, if you're ready to step into something, it's a bigger change than you might anticipate, especially if you've been single or if you've been like, let's say you've been in a relationship, but you've been living separately. Moving in with one another can be a big change. So we see change for the better, but it's still change. So give yourself time to sit with that change, okay? One important thing, and then we'll move on to the next category, don't try to change people. They are who they are. And hopefully that's the lesson that has been learned. I can't change this about you. People are able to grow and make changes, but they have to be ready. They have to be willing. When we look at love interests, lovers, potential partners, they are not like a fixer-upper on a home improvement show. They are exactly what you see. And if you're willing to take that for what it is, then you're good. If you want to change it considerably, it's not the right path. It's not the right person. They have to want to change. And I'll leave it at that. Okay. For those that are looking for love, we have the Eight of Cups. This can be someone coming back from the past. And this is also very much someone from the past. This is probably someone who it's like a second chance. The first time around, neither of you were ready. The timing could have been wrong. Maybe both of you were in a relationship and you just realized, like, I can't give you what you want. This time around, it looks better. It looks like it's good. So if you have a second chance to say I love you, to heal a wound, to go after a hope, fear, or a dream, then go for it. Okay, so this is second chances. This is also cyclical. And Eight of Cups, like let's say you just met someone. This can also be hot and cold, which we don't love as much. Sometimes someone, when they're really here, they're here. When they're not, it's like crickets and you have a hard time tracking them down. That may be something where you have to speak and say, kind of like what we were looking at for the long-term relationships, I need or want more than this. Do you also need or want more? And then that can bring a little bit more grounding to a card that is ebbing and flowing more than you want, and it's not predictable. So I think it's important to be on the same page. Because there is someone that's interested, but I don't know how committed they are. So have the discussion if you want to have that discussion. Other things that I see going on, first of all, you could be pulling in a karmic partnership. The karma of the relationship was a lack of availability. So a certain level of detachment will help. That's the weirdness of the Eight of Cups. You almost have to kind of be at a point where it's like, I have other things I'm going to focus, almost moving on and finding other relationships. And if the person starts to freak out, say, I'm interested in this. If you're interested, great, but like I'm not here when you want me to be here and only when you want me to be here. So that's what I'm kind of getting with this is you have someone that's kind of like not 100% committed. I feel like it would be better to just turn your energy and find where the commitment is if that's what you're looking for. You have a multitude of options here, honestly, 2 or 3 or 4. So I think it's important to know what you're looking for. We have air signs, we have fire signs, we have water coming through, and it's like too much to pin down. So when I get that many, it's just sort of important to kind of figure out what it is that you want. Again, there may be someone that isn't available, so don't push it. There may be someone that isn't ready to commit, so again, don't push it. I would say just move in a new direction, and that might be what they need to wake up, but it doesn't have to be something where you're kind of like holding it over them. Now, even though I'm looking at those that are focusing on relationships, this is also saying there might be something that comes around, an opportunity separate from love, and you might have a choice in front of you where you're like, oh, well, maybe I'll just focus on this. The law of detachment will, again, bring in some of the love and some of the other opportunities, but I feel like you might have a bigger choice in front of you where it's like, oh, yeah, I really do need to embrace this. This only comes around once in a blue moon. And so this is that blue moon. This is that moment to go for it, okay? Whatever the thing is that's most available and most energetically open, again, and this might be a job or an opportunity, follow the energy. Finally, if you're single and happy, some of you are just done with playing games, and the Seven of Swords is absolutely aligned with that. And I get it, and I think that that's fine. The other thing here, though, is to just really be mindful of integrity when it comes to new things that you decide to put your time and energy into. Make sure that people are on the level, they're honest, and if something isn't good enough, you can also walk away in the Seven of Swords. So this is a moment where you don't have time for games. And so make sure that as you decide how to invest your time and energy, that you're not playing games, because we can abstract it on that level. This is energy investment, and this is not a good investment of that time and energy. If people say one thing and do another, you got other things to focus on. In destiny, we have open channel, signs, codes, downloads, and sacred information. There's a little resistance to receiving that. Make some time. More time for meditation, more time for rest, more time for recalibrating. That is going to open you up to seeing things for what they truly are, and in doing so, help you have more discernment in what's in front of you, okay? Overall, let's take a quick look at this to kind of like go into all of the opportunities and in the highest forms, just to kind of align it to the special topic. First and foremost, the blocks, being too pragmatic, being too practical. Allow yourself to dream and see beyond the situation. The big thing that the universe wants to do is come forth and bring you your flowers and say, this is your moment to shine. But you have to be authentic in order for that to happen. You have to be willing to sometimes step away from people, places, and opportunities that are too rigid or too constrained or too conditional. Change is the thing that brings you to the star, but it's so hard to step into letting go, to stepping into something new. But the page reminds you it's one step at a time, so you don't have to like go rushing into it. Really get clear on what it is that you want to do. People are rewarding your passion and your actions, so one step at a time, folks. And then just looking at like the expanded cards, some of you really are looking for people that see like the big picture in your life. You're looking beyond the surface, you're going deeper. You're also understanding that there's love and opportunity that wants to come through, but you have to be able to see it and accept it. And finally, If you're ready to open up, this is like Magician, High Priestess, Hierophant energy. You have to sort of like make time to receive, because otherwise it's almost like the universe is phoning and getting an answering service. So you have to, that's what happens sometimes if you don't make time to meditate. Make time to meditate so that the calls and messages can come through and they're not getting backed up in voicemail. Just using some modern examples to help out with that. So just want to say thank you here. So give me a second here. I'm going to actually gift a couple of memberships because it's a brand new month. So while I'm doing this reading and while we meditate, I was like, I think this would be a great time to give a couple of memberships. So let me shift to a different tab in a different browser. While I'm doing that, by the way, if you like what you see here, do me a favor, like and subscribe. It's 100% free. We're going to get into a meditation in a moment, but this is a great way for the channel to grow and for you to never miss out on a future video. You can also follow me on social media, and that's a great way to know when I do an impromptu reading or something of that nature. Also, if you'd like to give back with super stickers, super chat, or memberships, just like I'm gifting some memberships, you can do that. You can become a member or you can gift some membership. Now, let's go ahead and meditate. After we meditate, I'll pull a final card, but I just wanted to say thanks because I can gift 10 a month. So I try to remind myself every month. I'm like, have I done that? All right. So now take a moment, if you will, close your eyes, and let's focus on the energy of a rainbow. Imagine that there has been a heavy storm, a lot of stuff that has come through, and this can represent your emotions too. You can imagine that you've just been through a moment or two, maybe laughing, maybe crying, maybe feeling exhausted, whatever it was that you have been processing. Imagine that you could focus on the sun in front of you. You could take a nice deep inhale and exhale, and on the exhale, imagine that all of that stuff gets sent up into the cosmos, and all that's left is this beautiful rainbow. From your heart to the sun, you feel this connection. Each and every chakra is connected to the corresponding rainbow colors, and you feel that you're finally in a moment to receive. You're finally able to receive love, abundance, and opportunity in the highest form. And the important thing here is that when it comes through, yes, you say yes and thank you. Thank you, I've done the work, I'm ready, I'm worthy, and I'm here. And that's something to celebrate. You're still standing, you're still here, you got through all of the tumults, and it was worth it. So really focus on the self-worth, because that brings in net worth, it also brings in opportunity. So love and accept yourself for who you are, and see that tomorrow is a new day with new opportunities. I'd like you to focus now on the final question that you might have for me. It can be anything that we've yet to discuss. Okay, we have the King of Swords coming through. If you asked a yes or no, it's a yes. However, let's talk about the nuances of the King of Swords. This king is not seated. He is standing tall. He is both communicative and action-oriented. Be a person of your word. If you say you're going to do it, do it. This is a great time to speak up, to teach, to use your skill of communication to create the necessary change which you might be seeking in your life. This is really great for those of you that are writers and communicators in particular, but everybody, you might be stepping into a situation where people really want to hear what you have to say. So don't hold back. Never underestimate the power of your voice. Remember, it's not about how perfectly you elocute or speak or articulate something. It's how authentically you do that. And that's really what we see here with the Star card. Okay? All right, folks, that is everything for this week. Thank you again for being patient as I've been focusing on recovery, for letting me walk the dog earlier, for just being like the best part of what I do here. I love these weekly collectives, and I love the community that has formed around the channel. So thank you. That being said, a couple of quick scheduling notes. I'm going to be trying to do one video per day, hopefully getting everything done by this time next week, and then we'll just go straight into the next month ahead and try to get it all caught up. the travel and then the sickness that I had after the travel definitely put a wrinkle in that. And I want to get back on track for my own sanity as well. So thank you. We'll just take it a day at a time. I may try some new changes with the next set of videos. I'll keep you posted on that. I'm always changing things up, but the current ones, they'll be the same format as always. One thing that I also wanted to iterate was, again, just thank you for being kind with respect to recovery. I do think that in the next couple of months, I'm looking at ways to get out of the city itself, because it's not going to be healthy for a couple of years here in LA with the air quality. So I need to get out of this city so that I can be a little bit healthier. So I'm working on that, and I'll keep you posted when that happens. But I am prioritizing health there, because it wasn't an accident that I had a respiratory issue. So anyway, all that being said, let's get into some gratitude. By the way, if you want to give back, you can do that. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Super Chat, Super Stickers, and membership sort of contributions here in just a moment. A quick reminder, by the way, if you do want to follow me on social, thank you. I appreciate it. Do keep an eye out for any imposters, block, report, and let me know about it. And again, you can always go to my website for more information. I want to just say thanks. Thanks everybody for showing up today. I'm going to take a moment here to say thanks to those that are members. First and foremost, whether you were gifted a membership or became a member, we'll start there. Let me just get this quick refresh, and then we'll go into that. By the way, as I start to do more things in the future, one of the changes I was thinking about is either putting some of the expanded into memberships or doing something special for the readings each month for members. So I might do more perks as we move forward. So keep an eye out on that. TBD. All right. Thank you to the following members: Ruby, Triona, Shadows, and Secrets, Carol, Timon, B. Brown, Anna or Anna, Jesse, Carla, Aaron, Sully, let's see, Jess, Monica, Andrea, let's see, I have to keep scrolling because it disappears. Siobhan, let's see, Bernadette, Phoebe, let's see who I missed. I think I got most of them. Yeah, it keeps disappearing on me. So I might pick up the rest as I go into chat here. Carla, Jesse, Anna, Aaron. Yeah, if I see some other ones here in just a moment, I will say that. Speaking of which, let's celebrate anniversaries. And if I see another name that I didn't call out, I'll do that. So anniversaries and special chats here. So first of all, Veruca Salt, great name, from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Thank you for gifting a membership. I appreciate it. Let's see. Lorna, thanks for 41 months. That's a lot. Thank you for being here, and good evening as well to you in the UK. Colette, thank you for 5 memberships and for gifting those. Jesse, welcome to the channel. Let's see. Natalie, thank you for being a member for a year. Happy 1 year. And then the memberships that I gifted as well. I think I got everybody. If not, I know that Dakota called them out, so thank you. Now let's say thanks for super stickers and super chat. Let's see what's going on here. All right, thank you to the following. Let's see, Mel 305, Elaine, Jamie, Watergirl, Alexa, Jess, and Monica. You guys rock. And that's everything, folks. I know I also mentioned the podcast. So if you haven't checked it out, it's on the main podcast tab. It's also on the channel main page. You'll see it listed there as well. And that's everything. Let's bring up Apollo for a final goodbye, and then I'll wrap up for today. Hey, buddy. Say hello. Come here. He's laying on the ground. He's like, no, Dad, I just want to nap. So you saw him earlier. I'm going to let him sleep. Thank you guys so much for being, again, an amazing group, and I wish you all the best. Check out the daily, weekly, and monthly videos, and keep an eye out for, I actually put a schedule on the community tab or the post tab, and you'll see what I plan to do over the next week. All right, folks, much love and light. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.